Hey guys, welcome back to the Woodbine Sports Podcast. I'm Greg Halpin, and as always, I'm here with my guys, Graham and Alex, and it's time to take another walk around the cul-de-sac. In today's episode, we're going to be going around the NFC, giving our thoughts and opinions on how their drafts went. We're going to go division by division. We're going to start up in the NFC North with the Chicago Bears, where there is no lack of storylines coming out of the draft. Alex, what'd you think about what the Bears did this year?
You know what? I think overall for their whole entire offseason, I think they did the best they could with the circumstances given. But going with Cole Kmet, I think they're just trying to fill a void there. Great athlete coming out of college. I mean, very productive. Many people probably thought he was the best tight end. So I guess getting him in the second round isn't really a bad pickup. So I amend them for getting Cole Kmet there.
Now, is it really a hole there for that tight end for the Bears? Because they did have 9 of them on the roster before they drafted Cole Kmet.
Right, but I mean, how many have you actually heard of?
Jimmy Graham.
Jimmy Graham, and then before him it was Trey Burton. Trey Burton's gone. Jimmy Graham's old. Cole Kmet. Yeah. I mean, this is an offense I think that is going to start trying to just get back to its roots, which is a ground and pound game, and let the defense win. This is going to be probably one of the best defenses we've seen the Bears come out with in a while. So I think they're going to be doing a lot of 2 tight end sets, and they need 2 surefire guys. Jimmy Graham is a productive tight end. Cole Kmet can learn a lot from a guy who's pretty much the same stature and pick his brain on what's it like to be a pro in the NFL. So I think that's why they went Cole Kmet. They need to help whoever quarterback is, whether it's Foles or Trubisky. So going forward, I think that this was just like a move that they think in order to be productive on offense now, they needed to get another second tight end in there that was going to be productive day one.
Oh, I definitely agree, especially with last year ranking 31st in the NFL in their production from tight ends. They had 416 receiving yards from their tight ends, which is nothing. Mm-hmm. And Kmet's a big dude. He's got monstrous hands. So and he's 6'6", 262. I like this pick a lot from the Bears personally.
Yep.
Yeah, I think it's definitely going to pay off. They're, like Alex said, they were working with what they had. So they gave up that first round pick for Khalil Mack. So they were working with the resources they have. They were able to pick up that second round pick, which they used on Jalen Johnson. I like the Cole Kmet pick, though. I think that after Jimmy Graham's done on his 2-year contract, Cole Kmet's going to become the guy there at tight end position. And like Alex was saying, you can run 2 tight end sets. It's common in the NFL, so you want to have a good number 2 in there.
Well, also, Jimmy Graham isn't the healthiest of tight ends in his recent history in the NFL. I mean, he's been very injury prone, so I think that was also a security blanket that they were thinking about there. And they already showed that they were interested in either Foles or Trubisky, so they didn't need to go like what the Eagles did with the Jalen Hurts or a quarterback. They felt comfortable with who they had there. I just think that this was what they thought they needed to be as productive on offense right now with the pick that they were given in the second round.
So definitely the other pick in the second round that the Bears had, the Jalen Johnson pick, is the more interesting of the 2 for me personally. I really like Jalen Johnson coming out of school. And since the Bears lost Prince Amukamara, so Johnson to me out of the corners is probably like the 5th best. His overall rank was 44, and they got him at 50. So they got a little bit of a steal on him. I'd say it's pretty average.
I would honestly say that they did get a steal on that. He might have been ranked 44, but in actual draft boards, a lot of people had him going like late middle first round in that 20 to 25 range. So I think they got a great pick on this. I would go as far to say that this is a steal as long as he comes in and produces like they expect him to.
Well, he's also got to be healthy. That was the one thing that was his biggest knock is he missed all of last year with a pec tear, I believe. So I know that at the beginning of the year he was one of the better corners in the league. I don't think he was up there with Jeff Okudah, but he was definitely maybe the number 2 guy coming into this draft before he got injured.
Yeah. And in a division like the NFC North with Rodgers and Stafford, like you need to have a good corner, and Cousins.
Yep.
Corners are so important.
I mean, this is a pass division, so yeah.
Yeah, I think that this guy's going to come in and he's going to do a good job, and I think that will translate into the NFL very, very nicely for him.
I think the Bears definitely set themselves up as long as they get productive quarterback play, they're going to be competitive in this division. And if everything clicks, they're going to be the runner-up. I think that this defense can really hold anybody in their division down. It's just going to be a matter of what they get out of their quarterback. They can't have 2-minute drives 15 times a game. They have to be able to sustain drives and let their defense rest, because that was their biggest issue last year.
But no, I liked what the Bears did in the later rounds too. They go in and they find these players in the middle of the draft that have all the speed in the world, and they can usually they've had a good track record in turning them into good players. Vildor and Mooney that they picked up in the 5th round, both ran sub 4.45s at the 40-yard dash. And they've taken Eddie Jacksons, they've taken Tariq Cohen's, and they've turned them into not only good players, but even Pro Bowl caliber talent. So they hope to obviously continue this trend right now.
Oh, absolutely. I think also another one was Travis Gibson. I think he was a little underrated coming out, maybe in a different draft class. Not really, though, because there were some guys in the 3rd that were a little bit more productive than him. But Travis Gibson out of Tulsa, he was, like I said, very productive. And to get anybody in there who's young to pick the brains of the pass rushers they have is fantastic. I mean, this kid's got to be ecstatic coming in, telling his mom, "Hey, I'm going to be working with Khalil Mack, the best in the biz." So
exactly, man.
Get ready for a new house, ma.
I mean, obviously that's their hope. It get into that when you're in one of those mid-round players, you're hoping to get to that contract.
And I mean, not every team is going to hit gold on every single pick, but if you can come out of this with, like who you said, Mooney, Vildor, even Gibson, even if you come out with 3 out of 7, that's a good draft. People who are continuous contributors to your franchise for more than a year or two, that you drafted, you implemented them, and they sustained. That's what you're always hoping for. So in my opinion, I think even striking 3 out of 7 picks is gold, because there are guys in free agency that you can always pick up to fill in those roster spots that generally your 5th and 6th and 7th round guys are going to do anyway. So overall, I did like what the Bears did. They got some youth, they got speed, and they just got to, like I say, it's all dependent on the quarterback play what the Bears do this year.
Yeah, which obviously that's one of their biggest questions going into training camp. They obviously already declined the 5th-year option on Mitchell Trubisky, so he's going into last year of his contract, and he's going against Nick Foles, who's already getting paid like a starting quarterback. So they'll have to figure out who's going to put them into the best position to win.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking quarterbacks, though, the Green Bay Packers. Oh, yeah. What a series of events they have placed.
It's a mess. Bro, it's a mess there in Green Bay right now.
It's not looking good. So the day of the draft, Aaron Rodgers was on the Pat McAfee podcast, and they asked him, "All right, what do you want? What do you want your team to do in the first round?" And Aaron Rodgers is like, "Oh, well, we haven't picked a skill player in the first round in 15 years. So what do you think the Packers go and do?" They do not pick a skill player. They pick his future replacement.
Jordan
Love, Utah State, 26th overall. What do you guys think of that draft pick?
Graham, I'll let you go with this one first, man.
Bro, I like Jordan Love, but I hate that he went to the Packers. It's a good pick if you're planning to do to Rodgers what you did to Favre with Rodgers. It's a good pick if you're doing that, which it definitely seems like that's their game plan for it. Mm-hmm. Love coming out of college at 8,600 yards and a 61.2% completion percentage and 60 touchdowns. It's not bad. The only real knock on him is his 29 interceptions that he had.
Right. And, I mean, and the school he played, the competition.
Yeah, I mean, I think I won't even necessarily say I like it, but I see what the Packers are trying to do. Like you said, they're getting ready for the future. Aaron Rodgers can opt out of his contract after the 2021 season. He's obviously not happy, so I figure that they see the writing on the wall.
Right, but all you needed to do was to get a playmaker for him, and he would have been happy. Like it's so simple. And I almost guarantee that Jordan Love would have been there at their next pick. Almost guaranteed.
And I think they definitely reached on him, but it depends on not only if they can fix the relationship with Rodgers, it's if they want to.
I don't think they do.
Yeah, I think this pick right here shows you that they don't. If they wanted to fix the relationship with Rodgers, they would have went with a skill player round one, try and patch this relationship up before the end of next season, end of the 2021 season, and try and get him on one last contract before he goes off to retirement. But they obviously just showed that they have no interest in doing that.
I think
Rodgers,
it's just Matt LaFleur saving his job as well. I mean, if they don't take a quarterback now, let's say Aaron Rodgers leaves at the end of the year, because we all know the situation in Green Bay with Aaron Rodgers has been going on for years. He's a big voice in that building, and when he's not happy, he's not happy. He puts it out there. Requesting a playmaker in the first round was not a big request from Aaron Rodgers. You have a Pro Bowl, a guy who is MVP caliber almost every freaking year, and with the weapons he's had over the course of his career, like, yes, he's had Devontae Adams, he's had the Aaron Joneses, he's had the running backs, and I get it, but they haven't been like top guys. They haven't been. No. Devontae Adams proved himself. Aaron Jones proved himself through reps, through playing with Aaron Rodgers, through Aaron Rodgers telling him what to do. So I was actually confused, but I think LaFleur is protecting himself. I think he knew Aaron was leaving or something, because LaFleur and Rodgers, I don't even think have a good relationship. I don't.
No, they don't.
Obviously, they don't. They just took Jordan Love. So
see, this to me shows me that Rodgers pushed out Mike McCarthy. They brought in Matt LaFleur, and Matt LaFleur is now showing Rodgers that, hey man, you're not pushing me out. I'm going to push you out if I have to, and this is his power move. He wanted leverage over Rodgers.
Aaron came out and even said that McCarthy didn't try trading or didn't do what LaFleur did for him. So people are saying he would play for McCarthy again. So I don't think Rodgers pushed out McCarthy. McCarthy was probably just getting stale in that area for continuously making it to the playoffs, but not getting to the next level. He would get to one point and then fail. Right.
Jordan Love's got to sit there and he's got to take whatever he can, learn from Rodgers. He, like you said, he's one of the best, and we'll probably see what he can do in 2-3 years when he takes over this team and Aaron Rodgers is gone. Honestly, this team's going to look totally different in a couple of years, because
it is.
With their second round pick, you can see they picked up another running back,
which also made no sense to me. Made no sense.
I think it's another insurance plan. Aaron Jones' contract is up after this year.
Yep, he's a free agent.
So I think they spent their first 2 round picks on insurance, making sure that they've got the guys who are gonna come in after these players leave. That's what I'm saying. And the Packers are gonna look totally different in 2 years.
Yeah,
and a new quarterback, a new running back. Probably some of their wide receivers will be gone too. It's gonna be interesting to see what Matt LaFleur can do with all this turnover and getting his players in there.
Well, worst case scenario, you play this year with Aaron Rodgers and Aaron Jones, and you make a playoff push, and next thing you know, Rodgers wants out. He's not happy. Jones' contract year's up, wants too much money. He's gone. Now Matt LaFleur isn't going into the offseason next year saying, wow, we got to trade like 2 first-round picks to get up in the top of this draft to get our next quarterback. And try and get a guy.
Exactly. So
now he can sit wherever he can sit at 23. Yep. Keep Devontae Adams, get another wide receiver or tight end or whatever he needs at 23, 24 if they make a playoff push, and it doesn't matter. They don't lose out on Rodgers, nothing. So as much sense as it would have made to get Rodgers the playmakers he needs around him to make that push, the sad fact is Rodgers has proven he can do it without it. So he is his own knife. You know what I mean? Like
so honestly, I think if you had to sit there and choose on if you're picking up a skill player for Aaron Rodgers or if you're picking up what they did, I think Matt LaFleur and the GM made the right move, because like you said, this is going to help Matt LaFleur's career because it's going to give him more longevity, because like you said, they're not going to be desperately searching who they're going to replace Hall of Fame talent like Aaron Rodgers.
Right.
They already most likely have their guy unless they see something terrible in the next couple of years watching Jordan Love practice. I mean, I don't like it, but I think he made the right move to make sure he has a job after 2 years.
Exactly. And that's the other thing coming in. I think a lot of these new coaches are telling these GMs, hey, I can't do this in 2 years. I need time. Like, you need to let me implement my system. There's a reason why you have me in this interview. I'm good at what I do. You have to let me do it this way, or else I'm not going to make this team good.
Exactly. So I think that this is LaFleur just getting ready, and honestly, I'm excited to see where the Packers are going to go. I think it's going to be really interesting to see what they're going to be doing. I don't really have much on the rest of the rounds. I mean, it looks like they're mostly just going to be backups for the time being. I mean, obviously, they gave a good focus on their offensive line, which hopefully, I mean, as Graham has said before, you can't have too much depth on an offensive line. So hopefully, at least that offensive line is in a good spot and gives Rodgers time to figure something out back there.
Yeah.
I mean, in all honesty, if I were a Packers fan, I'd be super pissed off because I don't feel like they did anything to help them win now in this draft. Like I would just be really mad if I was a Packers fan. Like what? Like
yeah,
clearly this guy's just trying to cover his ass. Like that's all it is. And
yeah, and
the only pick to me that actually made sense in this draft, and this is going to sound absolutely crazy, it came in the 5th round where they took an inside linebacker because they did lose 2 linebackers to free agency. So I would be so disappointed if I were a Packers fan in the organization and what they did here in the draft.
Yeah, I mean, we'll have to see how it shakes out. I mean, it's definitely a tough spot to be in for a coach walking in and trying to make sure that he's got what he needs, but also obviously I definitely understand what you're saying with the Packers fans being disappointed because no team wants to sit there and lose. I was talking to Alex earlier.
So it's not even like they're going to lose because they do have a good team. They got Rodgers, they got Adams, they got Jones, they got weapons, but they're not. They didn't do anything to really help themselves right now, and that's the part that bothered me about this draft.
Yeah, I mean, who knows? Maybe we'll be sitting here 5 years from now looking like idiots as Jordan Love's becoming the highest paid quarterback in the country, but only time will tell on
who
that.
knows, man.
We'll have to wait and see. But the Detroit Lions had the 3rd overall pick. They picked Jeff Okudah. I think they basically did the best they could do, other than maybe trading up and picking up Chase Young, but that's obviously a long shot just to move up one spot. I think Jeff Okudah is going to be one of the best shutdown corners in the league 2-3 years from now. I think he's a great player, and I mean, about as much of a surefire hit as you can get. As long as the kids can stay healthy, play well, and give in the effort, I think he can come in and just be a great player for them.
I think the 3 most absolute talents in this draft were Simmons, Chase Young, and Jeff Okudah. And to get any of those guys anywhere in the draft is a win for any team. I think they're going to be contributors from the get-go. So you can't go wrong with that pick. Nobody's going to complain about it. You know, welcome to the league, kid. You got big shoes to fill with Slay missing out, but I think he's ready to go. I think he can take over that role easily and shut down.
Well, they added Desmond Trufant too, so it's not like he needs to be that absolute number 1 shutdown corner right out the bat.
I think he will be though, man. I think this kid's gifted, dude. He's gifted. So. He's lanky. He doesn't really have any. He had like no penalties in college, and he shut down everybody.
And we'll see because I mean he's gonna be facing down Devontae Adams twice a year. He's gonna be facing down Thielen twice a year. Allen Robinson over in Chicago. So I mean, there's good number 1 receivers in this division, and in the NFC you can see them all over the place too. So I mean, he's gonna be tested, but like I said, I'm in the same boat. As you guys. I think he's going to come out and he's going to ball out first year. I don't think there's going to be any lag in that. I think Matt Patricia's got a great piece. It's going to take time, but I think Lions fans will have a big reason to be excited going into the season every year soon. I think that it's a little bit slower process than we've seen with the other teams, but I think Matt Patricia is going to bring this team around, and they're going to be a threat in this North, especially after maybe if the Packers fall off after Rodgers and Jones leave. I think the Lions are definitely going to be a real threat in this division.
I think that's now. I mean,
I think so too.
Last year, man, this team was fire, dude, and all they did in this offseason was get back. Yeah, dude, Matt Stafford was on fire until he got injured.
Matt Stafford's on fire every year, though.
It doesn't.
It hasn't been translating to wins, man.
No, they were winning.
The reason that it's not translating to wins is because they have no running game.
He was definitely going to be an MVP candidate last year before he got injured.
Oh, dude, I'm agreeing with you on that, but I'm just saying it's not translating over to wins.
Right.
So what's going to be what did they do
winning
this year?
They were winning before he got hurt. Then obviously they went through like 2 quarterbacks.
When did he get hurt? They only won 3 games last year.
The reason that I'm excited about the Lions is because they picked up DeAndre Swift, and I think that brings a different dimension to their running game that they haven't had in past years. And DeAndre Swift coming out of school is, in my mind, he was the top back coming out. He balled out at Georgia. The guy is an explosive back, and he's got an excellent burst. He is just the type of guy that this is the type of guy that they needed with Kerryon Johnson, and especially since Kerryon Johnson had knee surgery in the offseason and missed 6 games last year. They needed help at running back, and they definitely got it with this guy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think DeAndre Swift is going to be a great player for them. I think he's going to, like you said, he's going to bring that depth, but not only depth, I think he's going to be a real player in this backfield. I think he's going to come in, he's going to probably end up, by the end of the season, he's going to be their number 1 back.
100%.
I don't see anybody really giving them any fight in that. But as we were saying before, Stafford got hurt after in week 8. So they were 3-4-1 at that point.
Mm-hmm. But I mean, he was having a great career. It was his career.
He has great years every year. That's the thing that frustrates Lions fans the most.
Man.
I mean, awesome. It's Phillip Rivers with less wins. I mean, Phillip Rivers, he was usually able to get to the playoffs, but nothing ever really after that. But the Lions have always had trouble. I mean, they had Calvin Johnson and Matt Stafford, and
I think he's just one of the most underrated quarterbacks ever. Seriously, I mean,
no doubt. Him and Phillip Rivers are easily the 2 most underrated quarterbacks in our lifetime, if not the entire league.
Oh yeah,
but that's the thing is that the point I was trying to make was Stafford's comes out, throws up numbers every single year, but it hasn't been translating over to wins. Graham was saying that they haven't had the running game to back that up. So hopefully they've obviously taken the steps into that, but I'm wondering what's going to make this Lions team win. They have the pieces. What's going to actually make them win? I think Graham's right in the running back. I think they helped that with DeAndre Swift. I think Matt Patricia, with a little more experience, he's going to become a better head coach. They've got their shutdown corner now. It's just waiting to see what they're really going to be able to do with all their pieces and if they're going to be able to put it together.
Yep.
I'll tell you what, man, it's a tough division that they're in, and I think that's part of the reason that even though Stafford has been putting up these crazy numbers in the last 6 years, that's part of the reason that they haven't been able to take that step to take full advantage, because you've had a future Hall of Famer in your division, and it's hard to do that. Like being Bills fans, being AY, we've had Brady in our division for the last 20 years, so
they've had back-to-back Hall of Famers on one team.
Yeah,
before Rodgers, it was Favre. So obviously, I mean, they play in a tough division. I think if you look, though, I don't think there's really any division that is bad for a long time. There'll be a year or two that, you might have 1-2 bad years of a division, but I think this is definitely a competitive division. I hope to see the Lions put it together. I love seeing these teams that come out of the bottom of the barrel and be able to put it together.
Oh yeah.
I think that they definitely have that potential. I mean, I think they've put themselves into a good spot though. They definitely had one of the better drafts in the league this year. I would go out to say that.
This is definitely my sleeper team of the year though. I think the Lions are making the playoffs this year. Whether that's wild card or not, I just think this is the year.
They definitely could with the expanded playoffs. It's going to be interesting. I think it's going to make as exciting as the last 3-4 weeks of the season are. They are going to be nuts. We're going to see games we'd never expect being flexed to prime time because they're win or go home games. I'm excited to see the expanded playoffs. Honestly.
Oh yeah. And last but not least, I'd like to just chime in on Julian Okwara. Brother is on the team already, so I thought that was pretty cool, getting the brothers on the same team. We've seen that over the course of the past couple of years. I know the Edmonds brothers, the Watt brothers,
McCarty brothers together,
McCourties. Yep. I mean, so it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool when you always see that happen. So that was a nice little bright spot in the draft.
Definitely. Lastly, out of the NFC North, we've got the Minnesota Vikings. The Minnesota Vikings had 2 first-round picks after giving up Stephon Diggs to your guys' Buffalo Bills.
Hell yeah, we won that trade.
All right, that answers my question. I was about to ask. They used that pick to pick up Justin Jefferson. What's your guys' review on that? What do you guys think about that?
Take that.
Go ahead, Graham. No, that's all you, bro. You can start.
Personally, we won that trade. 100% we won that trade. I would trade Justin Jefferson for Stephon Diggs any day of the week. Stephon Diggs is a proven talent in the NFL. Justin Jefferson, coming out of college, is he's definitely a good talent, but you don't know how well he's going to translate into the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
I guess they have their backup plan, having Thielen there and keeping Thielen and getting rid of that presence like Diggs in their locker room. And I know that they were having issues with him there, with wanting the ball more and feeling like he was getting left out of the offense.
He didn't even want the ball more. He just wanted them to throw the ball more, period.
Yeah.
That's the thing is, like, I think I understand the Vikings getting rid of Diggs because he obviously wasn't happy there. But I would not classify him as a diva at all. I know I've seen some places saying that, but like when you go back and you listen to what he said, he didn't say throw me the ball. He didn't say give me the ball. He said we have a talented receiving core. We have a talented quarterback. Why aren't we just throwing the ball more? He didn't even care where it went. He just wanted them to throw more. And he had a point.
It makes total sense.
You're paying a guy $70 million a year. We already had this conversation in our very first episode, okay? Kirk Cousins is overpaid for the role that he's playing. It's
100%.
If you want to play that game style Zimmer, whatever his name is, then get somebody who's a lot cheaper and put pieces around him with that money you're spending on him. Because if you're not going to throw the ball 35 times a game with Kirk Cousins, then why pay him? Why are you paying him that money?
I think Justin Jefferson's going to turn into a nice player, though. I think he's going to be a great number 2 behind Thielen for the time, and I think he definitely has the potential to take over that number 1 spot after Thielen's gone, whether that's retirement or he leaves. Yeah. I think I don't want to be too negative on Justin Jefferson. I know you guys are excited that you won that trade, but I think he is going to be a really good wide receiver for that team.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just saying, as it stands today, that we won that trade 100%, and who knows, once the season kicks off, Jefferson might have a better year than Diggs. It's unlikely, but he could. He's got Kirk Cousins throwing him the ball. So
and Adam Thielen's going to get double teamed. So
they're basically. I think that's going to be the bigger thing is that Diggs isn't going to have as much room now. It's going to be tough for him. I think we saw it with Juju Smith-Schuster last year. After Antonio Brown's gone, he was the guy before he got injured. He was the guy getting double teamed every time, and his production dropped dramatically.
But the good thing is he's walking into a situation in Buffalo where John Brown put up number 1 receiver numbers last year in an offense that was actually kind of struggling at times. And then Cole Beasley put up his career best year. Yeah. So Stephon Diggs is walking into a nice locker room. I mean, we got a guy for every aspect of the wide receiver core. We got a route runner.
Well, I mean, you could say, the Vikings have a nice receiving core too.
They do.
Who though?
When Diggs was there? When Diggs was there, I was saying.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
They had a nice receiving core there too. That Diggs was able to get that space because you had Adam Thielen as the number 1 guy getting the number 1 cornerbacks. You had Kyle Rudolph in the middle drawing attention there. Diggs was able to run wild. And so I think that it's going to be an adjustment. I think it's going to be an adjustment. I think he'll still have a great season. Don't get me wrong.
Either going to get his 1,000-yard season, or all 3 of them collectively are going to put up almost like 2,000 to 2,200 yards.
I think all 3 of them could probably end up pretty close to 1,000. Yeah. I think they'll all be 800 plus. I think he's still going to be in a good spot. I don't want to be too negative on him, but I think it might be the first couple of games might be a little slow.
Yeah,
is what I'm saying.
It's easy to sidetrack and get on the Bills here with us, but back to the Vikings. Another pick I liked was Jeff Gladney, cornerback, TCU. The Minnesota Vikings lost a lot in the secondary this year. They lost 2 safeties and 3 main corners, so 5 total in that secondary. So getting a player like Jeff Gladney, where they got him, great pick. Can't complain with the stats. 107 tackles, 39 assisted, 146 total. 5 picks and 39 pass deflections, so he's around the ball that's an exciting thing for Vikings fan.
Definitely. And even then, they in their third round they picked up Cameron Dantzler, another cornerback, and they picked up a safety later in the draft.
Yep.
They obviously focused on what they lost most at. They're obviously just hoping that these players can come in and contribute like those guys did. It's tough to replace. It's tough to replace seasoned pros with rookies, obviously, but I think they put themselves into a good position to try their best to do that. I liked their draft. They addressed the needs they had, and they picked good players to fill those needs. I think that there's not a whole lot of star power, but when you've got 15 picks,
you got to just fill holes.
Because I mean, you were saying earlier, if you hit 3 out of 7, that would be a good draft.
Yeah,
you hit 5. You have 15 picks. You could hit 5, 6 guys that are going to be starters on this team. So I mean, we'll have to wait and see how it shakes out. Hopefully, their scouting worked out well and they've got the players they need. But I think that they might not have those big names, that big star power, but I think they've got a lot of good picks at a really good value.
Oh yeah,
agreed. This draft for the Vikings was very important for filling needs, and that's what I liked about it. They just lose too many guys in the offseason, it feels like, and it's hard to start over almost every year, I feel like. I feel like with this team, but I feel like with this team in particular, they are having such trouble getting over the hump because I feel like they're always starting over.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough when you have all those players. They all want to get paid, and I mean, obviously, sometimes egos are come into it, or they're not happy with where they're at. So every team has that. I know we were talking last week. I mean, there's going to come a day that the Bills are going to have to start paying people, and they're not going to be able to pay everybody. So, I mean, that time comes for every team. This year, it seemed like it was the Vikings' time. So, I think they put themselves into about the best spot they could, though, coming out of this draft.
Oh yeah. I mean, they did what they had to do with the 15 picks. They filled the holes that were needed, and now it's just all what can our coaches do to coach them up.
Definitely. So we'll just bring it right around. Unless there's something else you guys want to say, we'll bring it right around the NFC East.
The NFC East it is.
NFC East. We'll start with the Dallas Cowboys. As much as I hate to admit it, they had a damn good draft.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I think that if not the best, maybe you put them at 2, but I think they had the best draft out of any team in the league. You have CeeDee Lamb gifted to you at 17, playing across from Amari Cooper. I mean, I don't know of a better situation you can put the kid into. He's gonna be able to go against single coverage. He's gonna be able to, and when you're a speed receiver, that's huge. He can, if you can outrun the single coverage, man, the kid's gonna run wild.
Oh yeah,
I think, and especially, I mean, the Giants and the other teams in the division, they have solid number 2s, but those number 2 cornerbacks are going to have to be on their peak game coming in playing against CeeDee Lamb. Otherwise, he is just going to go crazy.
I mean, this is potentially the best wide receiver trio in the NFL right now. What were you going to say, Graham?
I was going to say CeeDee Lamb coming into an already dangerous Dallas Cowboys offense is going to make the Dallas Cowboys offense explode. If he's not going to be drawing double coverage with Amari Cooper, I don't know how you stop this team passing the ball. I really don't.
You don't sign Dak Prescott?
Yeah, we're still waiting on to see if that contract's going to come out.
I'm telling you what, after this draft and after the acquisitions they made in the free agency,
it might be honestly in Dak Prescott's favor that he hasn't signed the contract yet. Because if he comes in and he balls out with what this receiving core can do, he might get paid more at the end of this year than he thought he could make in this offseason.
Well, yeah. But I mean, I'm also looking at this whole thing saying Andy Dalton might actually win with this team.
My gosh, I don't.
Cowboys might.
Andy Dalton could win with this team.
Dude, the Cowboys might not.
Nate Peterman could win with this team. I mean, look at
that's a stretch that I will call BS on all day. Nate Peterman couldn't win with a paper bag with everybody on the defense wearing paper bags over the heads without holes in them. Nate Peterman could not win.
I mean, I don't know, man. This team right here is firepower all over. So I honestly think you could throw Brian Hoyer in there, and this defense is good enough now. I know that they lost Byron Jones in the backfield, but they got their pass rushers up front, and they got run stoppers. They got Gerald McCoy, Dentari Poe. So to get
And
those guys,
they picked up Stefan's brother Trevin Diggs in the
in the
second
second
round.
round,
So they got another solid corner. Obviously, he's not going to be Byron Scott, but like he's gonna come in, and I think he's gonna play well. So this is gonna be a tough team. I think the Dallas Cowboys came into this draft still looking like a number 2 to the Eagles. I think they're clear in a way the number 1 team in this division now. I don't think there's any ifs, ands, or buts about it, and it's a disappointment if they don't win the division.
Man,
if they don't run away with the division this year, it's a disappointment.
I'm telling you guys, you're anticipating this as if Dak Prescott's quarterback. There's a real possibility.
I'm saying even if Andy Dalton is the quarterback, they are running away with this division.
Andy Dalton is quarterback of the Cowboys, the Philadelphia Eagles win this division.
No.
Yes.
No.
Mark my words right now. Episode 3, Woodbine Sports Entertainment. Andy Dalton quarterback and the Dallas Cowboys. The Eagles run away with the division. Mark my words.
Nah, son.
I don't think Andy Dalton even gets into the starting role. I really don't.
I don't think so either. But I'm saying if it does come to that, Dalton can still win the division.
Maybe. Maybe not.
We'll have to wait and see, man.
I
also like the Tyler Biadasz pick, the center out of Wisconsin, after losing Travis Frederick this year to an injury. He just called it quits, retired. Bringing in his replacement was clutch, especially in an offensive line that's considered by much to be the best in the league. That's a great offensive line to learn behind before they start having to disband their guys due to contracts. So I like that pick as well. It's also going to help Zeke Elliott in the run game up front. So I am excited to see what the Cowboys do. I do think the Cowboys could potentially be the strongest in this division, and I'm excited to see what they do with CeeDee Lamb. It's going to be explosive.
Travis Frederick was diagnosed with an autoimmune disease, and that's why he retired.
But all right, so Washington Redskins, number 2 overall pick. You take Chase Young. I don't think they do any better than that.
No,
they don't. I don't think they're in the market for a quarterback. Owner likes Dwayne Haskins, and Coach Ron Rivera, he likes Kyle Allen, and he brought Kyle Allen along with him. Yep. So I don't think they needed any help really at quarterback. I don't think they needed to add a third guy into there. So I think you pick Chase Young and you move on.
Yep, that's great.
He is going to be a tear. He's going to impact every play that he's on the field because of the attention he is going to draw. If he stays healthy, I think he's going to be one of the best. But I love the Chase Young pick. Like I said, I don't think you can really go wrong there at number 2. But I
mean, it's a pick that you can't miss on. Chase Young is done over with. You're good. You got a guy that's going to start for you. He's going to start for you every year that he's with you, and he's going to be a dynamic playmaker that's going to put up probably 5-6 sacks a year to begin his career. He's got a high motor. He's going to be a good player for them, and you can't number 2.
Definitely. And the Redskins use the rest of their draft picks mostly are used to put Dwayne Haskins into a better position to win. They picked some tools. They picked some talent for him out at the wide receiver. They picked some offensive linemen. I think they're really doing their best to set him up to succeed. And he's gonna come in year 2, his first full year as a starter, and rubber's gonna hit the road, and they're gonna see what he can do.
Yeah, I really like the Shadik Charles pick, the left tackle they got out of LSU. Just had some personal troubles at college, but has a great athletic ceiling. Also, Antonio Gandy.
He's going to replace Trent Williams.
Yeah, and as long as he can stay, right. He had a lot of personal issues going on at college. I don't really know what the specifics were there, but I know that he always had some type of infraction of the school policy, so that hindered him. But his talent was always there. Also, Antonio Gandy Golden, everybody wanted the Bills to take him. Great talent. We'll just have to see where these wide receivers go with this young quarterback. It's nice that the past couple seasons the Redskins have invested in young wide receivers because you would like to have them grow with your quarterback as he's growing. So
I like Antonio Gibson because he's he's a hybrid receiver back. So you can use him in both roles. And I think that being the kind of guy that can play 2 positions in the NFL, I feel like the NFL is starting to shift to this where you can you can have guys that can play multiple positions because they're more important.
Yeah, it's looking a lot more like, I mean, almost comparatively on a lesser sense to like the NBA. The NBA, I mean, it's almost positionless now. I mean, there's just so much flow in the offenses that you're going to have a center out at the 3-point line and he can drain that three. You've got a running back who can catch the ball, run like a catch like a wide receiver, run like a running back. I mean, I think Antonio Gibson's going to be that type of player. You were talking about the Lions making the biggest improvement. I think as long as Washington's offense can line up and Dwayne Haskins can play to his potential, I think the Redskins have a lot of room that they're going to improve to. I think that they could definitely be a lot closer to a 500 team and make a decent run into later into the season, looking at those expanded wild card spots. I think that he's got Dwayne Haskins has the tools that he can make this offense into something, and the pass rush that the Redskins are going to have is going to be scary.
Yeah, I mean,
as a Giants fan, I'm not excited to play them twice a year.
Yeah, they're definitely going to have the pass rush. They're going to have the defense to help out their young stud QB, but I think the biggest thing that they have hindering them is just the fact that their whole offense is really young. So they're going to be facing experienced defensive coordinators and stuff. So Dwayne Haskins, it'd be different if he had like solidified veterans, who could kind of slow the game down for him. But they're all young. So the biggest thing is going to be the learning curve, and they're just going to have to like learn the game together. So that could either help them or hurt them. So I don't. It's not that I don't think they made great strides. I just think the Lions are more win ready right now and have the ability to do more now because of their veteran leadership there.
No, definitely. That definitely makes a lot of sense. I think I'm excited to see what Ron Rivera is going to do. I've always liked him as a coach. I think,
and they know what to expect there. Ron Rivera is a great coach. I mean, you know what you're getting out of that guy. He's a winning culture dude. Obviously, his ties are throughout the whole league now. Buffalo, Philly, stuff like that. So, I mean, people are recognizing good coaches who, branch off their innovativeness in this culture that's happened amongst this league. Andy Reid and Bill Belichick, they all produce these great coaches that go out and make names for themselves. So Ron Rivera has definitely implemented himself in that category.
Absolutely.
So we're going to skip over the Giants because obviously we talked about them last week. We talked about the Giants last week. We already went in depth on that. So we'll leave that to that episode. Go back and listen to it if you're looking for that info. So we'll finish up the NFC East with the Philadelphia Eagles. They went wide receiver, first round. A lot of people were expecting that because of all the issues. Second round, I'm not sure anyone was expecting that. What do you guys think about what the Eagles were doing with this year's draft?
I really love the first pick. The second round, I think this just goes back to what they've proven themselves in this league is that a very consistent number 2 quarterback is absolutely necessary. Carson Wentz has a career of injuries, regardless of what he can do when he's healthy. The problem is that he's not always healthy. So they also have to invest in that. With Nick Foles going to Chicago and everything, and departing to Jacksonville last year, that was kind of a hole that they needed to fill because they do know at the end of the day there is a very good chance Carson Wentz goes down. So why not have a guy like Jalen Hurts, who's also an RPO specialist? Great job in college. That's the kind of offense they run in Philly. I bet you Peterson's actually licking his chops having this kid because I feel like this could be a Taysom Hill type of addition. He might have his own play sets, his own packages that he goes in on goal line maybe and runs in, or I don't know. We'll just have to see. I'm actually kind of excited to see what they do with Jalen Hurts.
Yeah, I think he can definitely be. He'll definitely. I think if they decide to, I would be really excited to see him play, and I think he'll be on the field more than your average backup quarterback. I think that they'll run a Taysom Hill type of package that they're going to bring him in. They're going to have him be a distraction. They're going to have him be a playmaker. And with Jalen Reagor in the first round, I mean, I think that's a great playmaker right there coming out of TCU. I really like the pick, but we'll have to wait and see on how they really want to implement Jalen Hurts and see what they really want to do with this offense. I think they're getting a lot of flack on their draft because they didn't keep up with the Cowboys, but when the Cowboys knocked the draft out of the park like they did, I mean, it's pretty hard to keep up with that. I still think they picked really good players and they got some really good talent to fill some of their bigger holes.
Yeah, definitely. I also like the Kayvon Wallace pick, safety out of Clemson. The Eagles lost quite a bit in the secondary actually this offseason. So getting another guy back there was huge for them. I just like that pick because it fills a hole.
Definitely Devion Taylor in the third round is a good pickup too.
Yeah,
they need some linebacker help, so they picked him up. They picked up Sean Bradley in the 6th round. So like I said, I mean they made some good picks and they're filling some holes and put themselves in a good spot.
Graham, what do you think though about that, Jalen? Do you think that means anything for Carson Wentz, or do you think this is just a systematic move?
I think it's just a systematic move. I think exactly what you said. I think that they're going to try to do somewhat of a Taysom Hill thing. Seeing the success that the Saints are having, using Taysom Hill, I think that they want to try to do something similar to that. And Doug Peterson is definitely a creative coach who can come up with some crazy plays, which we saw in the Super Bowl. So Jalen Hurts coming into the Eagles, it makes sense, but at the same time, it doesn't. Because I don't really know. I think that maybe they could be trying to look for a replacement for Carson Wentz in the next couple of years. They might be ready to call. They might be ready to call it on Carson Wentz.
They just signed him to an extension. They just signed him to an extension before the year. I don't think they're calling it quits on him at all.
If it comes down to injuries, this goes back to the LaFleur thing with Aaron Rodgers. At least they're insured. You know, you're getting a guy who's going to learn behind a great quarterback who's won. At the end of the day, people are going to complain about it, but this is a quarterback-driven league. And backup quarterbacks, I think, in this day's era of football are going to start coming out in the 2nd round. And people aren't going to be scratching their heads in 2 years when this is just a regular thing now.
Yeah, I think the only place Carson Wentz will be going anywhere other than a starting position is the injury list. I don't think he's going anywhere if he's healthy. I think he's their guy. They made that known before last season, signing him to that extension. We'll have to wait and see, though. I think that the Eagles will put themselves in an interesting spot. They'll definitely make a run for one of these new wild card spots, but I think that it's definitely the Cowboys division to lose.
Yeah, I agree with you.
So that's all for the NFC East, unless one of you guys have another thing to add.
No, I'm all set.
All right, everyone. This is Greg here. Just wanted to thank you for joining us for today's episode. Because of the length, we decided to split the NFC draft review into 2 parts. We'll have the next part out for you in just a couple more days. Again, thank you for taking the time to take this walk around the cul-de-sac with us. Make sure to check us out on Instagram at woodbine_sports. We post news there daily, and who knows, this week we might even find some cut footage from today's episode. As always, we appreciate you listening. Stay safe, and we'll see you next time on the Woodbine Sports Podcast.